All right, so I am going to walk through the surplus and shortage and also the quantity transacted. And so I've done the math here on the chart as you can see it, and let's go through. So we first, the setup here is our demand curve is right here at the top and our supply curve is right there. And we're gonna solve for the initial equilibrium down here in red. In this section, we set the quantity demanded equal to quantity supplied, and we solve and we get the price is equal to 225 down here, and the quantity is equal to 175. And if we look on our chart, this is the point where those two numbers are equal. This is the price and the supply, the price for the demand curve and price for the supply curve, and this is that quantity. And if we go over here to the graph, this is where the two curves cross. This is our quantity axis. So the equilibrium quantity is 175, and the equilibrium price, as we found, is 225. All right. Now, the next one we're going to go to is the blue one up here on the top, and that's just a price of 300. So let's figure out what the quantity demanded is when the price is 300. Well, we can plug in 300 into this demand curve and solve, and we see that that's 100. And we can see that when we plug it into the supply curve, plug price equals 300 in the supply curve, the quantity supplied is 350. So if we want to find this quantity supplied, so now we're going to go in the graph, and we're going to go over here at 300. We're going to go over here and say, well, that's where it hits the demand curve. And so this is the quantity demanded is 100. And then we'll continue going over, and this is where it hits the supply curve. So this is the quantity demanded at 300, and this is the quantity supplied at 300. What is the quantity transacted? Well, the quantity transacted is always the minimum of the quantity demanded and quantity supplied. And so here, when the price is 300, the quantity transacted would be 100, because that's the lowest of the quantity demanded and quantity supplied. We also see that we have what we call a surplus. And what's a surplus? Well, a surplus is defined when the quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded. Quantity supplied is 250, quantity demanded is 100, and so the surplus is the difference between those two. There's a surplus of 150 units. 250 units are being brought to the market to sell, but only 100 units are being sold. And so the difference between those two is 150. So in this example, the surplus is 150. Now, now let's go down here to the purple at the bottom. The purple is looking at what happens when the price is equal to 100. And again, you can pause the video and figure out the math, plug in 100 into each of the prices up here in the supply and demand curve, or just go across here and find where 100 intersects. Here is where it intersects the supply curve. And so now this is the quantity supplied, because that's where it hits the supply curve. And this is the quantity demanded. It's a low price, so consumers want to buy more. And then what do we have here? Well, since the quantity demanded is above the quantity supplied, here we have a shortage. Okay, and what is the amount of the shortage? Well, it's 300 minus 50, or 250 units. And then also, let's go back and calculate what is the quantity transacted. The quantity transacted right here, I'm highlighting, is the minimum of the quantity demanded and quantity supplied. So the minimum of 50 and 300 is 50. So hopefully that helps understand what the surplus, shortage, and quantity transacted are on the outline.